Alright, this week we have a pretty cool little exercise to do. So this one is related to airspeed. Have you ever thought what would happen if your airspeed indicator quits working? All of us good pilots on takeoff, as we're rolling down the runway, we want to note that we are getting positive airspeed on the gauge, and that it's heading, in an accelerating fashion, and that everything is working. So that's a good cross check. But let's say for some reason we're flying along and the airspeed indicator quits. Some pilots on landing, that would be pretty disconcerting, but there are some ways you can practice to make it really not a big event. So here's the exercise. What you might want to do is get with a flight instructor to go with you and practice this no airspeed indicator exercise. So you go up and you basically cover up the airspeed indicator, and you want to practice landing. If you know a lot about the stabilized approach, every landing has somewhat of a recipe. On downwind, you get to beam the touchdown point, you bring the power back to a certain amount, you kick in some flaps at that point, kind of see what the airspeed is doing and how your descent rate is. So most approaches are pretty typical. Now when you get on final approach with no airspeed indicator, you want to take a moment to perhaps go through one landing with the airspeed indicator and kind of listen to the air. How is the air hitting the aircraft? What is the volume of it? What kind of sounds are you hearing? And also with the appropriate RPM setting, what does that sound like? And then you could sort of use your other senses to see, as far as your sight picture, how quickly the ground is moving by, and just take a minute to kind of observe what is the movement in relationship to the ground looking like as you're coming in for the approach. Now, one thing you don't want to do is assume that you need a lot of extra speed. That's a bad setup to have a very long landing and perhaps a dangerous landing. You've seen that situation before where folks come in and they go, I don't have an airspeed indicator, so their approach speed is really high. So the danger there, of course, is a long landing and perhaps going off the end there. Even if you have a long enough runway, well, you're doing something that's out of the norm. All right, that's another fun exercise for you to go out and try next time you're out flying, and it'll make you a safer pilot.